लाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुश्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for the wonderful Mangalacharan. So Prabhujis and Matajis, please accept my humble obeisances and thank you very much again for giving me the opportunity to do service of Srimad Bhagavatam today. Can I first check with you? Can you hear me properly? Is there any problem? Okay, you can hear me well? Okay, brilliant. Okay, so I'm just going to come. Okay. Thank you. So we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 4, verse number 22 today. And apologies, I know Prabhuji touched upon it yesterday, but so apologies in advance if there are any repetition or duplications. So please forgive me for that. So I start my, before I read the shloka, I pay my obeisances to my Guru. Without his mercy, I wouldn't have been able to do the service. My prayers and obeisances to all my teachers and the Jagat Gurus for the service opportunity, and to all of you for giving me this, doing so much mercy on me, giving me the service. If I make any mistakes or go wrong anywhere, please forgive me and please correct me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yatra Narayana Devo Narascha Bhagavan Rishi Mriditivam Tapotirka Depate Loka Pavana. So, translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. There, in Badrikashram, the personality of Godhead, in his incarnation as the sages Nara and Narayana, has been undergoing great penance since time immemorial for the welfare of all amiable living entities. Now, I just want you to remember the word amiable, which has been translated. Prabhuji, if you go up slightly. Thank you, Prabhuji. So, yes, thank you, Prabhuji. So if you look at the word amiable with my cursor, it's the word mridu as been said in the verse. So we'll come to that in a minute when we are looking into the verse, but I just wanted to highlight that before we go into the purport. And so mritu, amiable to everyone, and welfare of all living entities. Okay, if we come down a bit, Prabhu, for the purport, please. Can't. For some reason, I can't. Is it me, Prabhu, who has to scroll down, or is it you scrolling down? Sorry, for some reason I can't scroll down. Okay. Okay, thank you. So Badrikashram in the Himalayas, the abode of the great sages, is a great place of pilgrimage for the Hindus. Even up to the present, hundreds and thousands of pious Hindus go to pay respects to the incarnation of Godhead Narayana. It appears that even 5,000 years ago, this holy place was being visited by such a holy being as Uddhava, and even at that time, the place was known to be very, very old. This particular pilgrimage site is very difficult to visit for ordinary men because of its difficult situation in the Himalayas, in a place which is covered by ice almost all year. A few months during the summer season, people can visit this place at great personal inconvenience. There are 4 dharmas, the or kingdoms of God, which represent the planets of the spiritual sky, which consists of the Brahmajyoti and the Vaikunthas. These are Badrikashram, Rameshwara, Jagannath Puri, and Dwarka. Faithful Hindus still visit all these holy places for perfection of spiritual realization, following in the footsteps of devotees like Uddhava. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnana-Janashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you, Prabhuji and Matajis. Okay, so over here we see how Krishna, he instructs Uddhava to go to Badrikashram, where Nara and Narayan has been performing penance on austerity for a long time. Now, let's look into a pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Gadadhar Pandit. Now, in Kali Yuga, in Chaitanya Leela, we understand that Gadadhar Pandit came. He's an incarnation of Radharani. So after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas when he was only 24 years old, and after that he went and lived. He was in Jagannath Puri. Now Gadadhar Pandit was with him, and Gadadhar Pandit had taken Kshetra sannyas. Kshetra, as we have come, Kshetra means the field, the place. So Kshetra sannyas means that he had taken sannyas to live in Jagannath Puri and serve the deity over there, Tota Gopinath, as was instructed by Mahaprabhu to him. So he had taken Kshetra sannyas so that he couldn't go out, he wouldn't go outside Jagannath Puri. So his duty as given by Mahaprabhu was to serve the deity over there, and also serve the people and instruct the people around there on Krishna consciousness. So then one day, Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vrindavan, And there are other instances where Mahaprabhu had wanted to go to Vrindavan, but he was sidetracked. Nityananda Prabhu directed him somewhere. He ended up being in Advaita Acharya's house. But this time, Mahaprabhu wanted to go to Vrindavan. And so Gadadhar Pandit said, I want to go with you. How can I possibly live in Puri over here without you? Now, Mahaprabhu understood the feelings of love that Gadadhar Pandit had for him, because he knew that this is Radharani. Nobody loves Krishna as much as Radharani does. And it's impossible to separate Krishna and Radharani. Mahaprabhu's very close associates understood as to why Gadadhar Pandit couldn't even think of this separation from Mahaprabhu. So, but then Mahaprabhu told Gadadhar Pandit that no, you have to stay here because you've taken Kshetra Sannyas. You cannot leave Jagannath Puri. And Gadadhar Pandit said that wherever your lotus feet are, that is Jagannath Puri to me, because wherever you are Jagannath, you are the Lord of the universe. So wherever is your lotus feet, whichever path, whichever road, whichever place it is in, that is Jagannath Puri to me. So I will be still be continuing my Kshetra Sannyas. And then he followed Mahaprabhu until they reached the edge, right at the edge, the border of Orissa, which is the state where Jagannath Puri is. And then Mahaprabhu said, no, you have to go back. You have to go back to Nilachal, to Puri. You cannot go with me. And then when Gadadhar Pandit still wouldn't listen and said, it's impossible for me to stay here without you. So Mahaprabhu said that Gadadhar, you coming with me will make you happy. But if you come with me, it is going to make me unhappy, because you will be breaking the vow of Kshetra Sannyas. And nobody is more unhappy than me if I see my greatest devotee breaking a vow towards Krishna. So if you come with me, it's going to make me unhappy. If you come with me, it will make you happy, but me unhappy. And when Gadadhar Pandit heard this, he just fainted. Obviously, he understood what what Mahaprabhu was saying, but he couldn't bear that separation. He fainted. And Mahaprabhu, with tears, Mahaprabhu asked Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who's another associate of, very, very close associate of Mahaprabhu. He asked Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to take care of Gadadhar Pandit and take him back to Puri. So this separation, this is where we start our verse on the separation of Krishna and Uddhava. Krishna asking Uddhava to go to Badrikashram and giving him instructions what to do here, what to do over there. So we'll come to this separation a bit later, and we had heard about Vipralamba, the mood of Vipralamba yesterday, and we'll probably dwell on that a little bit when we come to that a bit later. But let's look at Badrikashram. Why Badrikashram? Now we are told over here that Badrikashram, it's in the Himalayas, and it is the abode of Nara and Narayan. Nara means man, and it is said to be the two sages, the twins. So one of them, Nara, was said to be the incarnation of Arjuna. Nara as in man, so Arjuna, and the other, Narayan, as the Lord himself, an incarnation of the Lord himself. And we are told that they were born to Dharma, Dharma, who was the son of Lord Brahma, and their mother's name was Murti. Murti is the daughter of Prajapati Daksha. Prajapati Daksha, who again is a son of Lord Brahma, and the Prajapatis, as we know, they are agents of creation. So Murti, the mother of Nara and Narayana, she was the daughter of Prajapati Daksha and Prashuti. Prashuti, again, is the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, the first Manu, and Satarupa. Prashuti gave birth to many daughters, many divine daughters, including Mother Sati. So Murti was also another daughter of Prashuti. So we see that, you know, Nara and Narayan, the two rishis, they were twins. They were born to very, very, they belong to a very celebrated divine lineage, going back to Lord Brahma. And in Badrikasham, they engaged in austerities and penance for the welfare of humanity. And we are told that, you know, in the verse and in the purport that they are probably being performing penance and austerities at Badrikasham for a very, very long time. Definitely in Satyayug, probably right from the start, you know, just after creation. Because even at Uddhava's time, it was said to be, you know, a very old place where Nara and Narayan were performing, you know, austerities for such a long time. And even now, you know, hundreds and thousands of pilgrims or Hindus, they go and pay respects to the incarnation of God over there. Nara and Narayan. Now, we are told in the purport that it is a very difficult place to go to, especially as it's covered with ice almost all the year round, but only a very few months during summertime. It is okay for people to visit. However, it is not a very, very comfortable journey, and it can be quite risky as well. I mean, we hear of you know, people going to other dhams, other holy places, but not being able to go to Badrikashram because it's so risky to go there. Now, there are 4 dhams, or 4, you know, the dhams are the places where the Lord is supposed to reside. And it's said that, you know, these 4 places, there are 4 main dhams. And these 4 places, they represent the spiritual planet here in this material world. So they are non-different to the spiritual places. And these 4 dhams are in all the 4 directions of part of India. And we see there's Rameshwaram in the south, there's Dwarika in the west, there's Jagannath Puri in the east, and Badrinath or Badrik, where Badrikashram is, in the north. And acharyas have commented, various acharyas have commented various things about these 4 dhams. And we are mentioned over here about these 4 dhams as well. In our purport, we read Prabhupada has written about these 4 dhams as well. Now, Adi Shankaracharya, he said that each of these dhams, they actually represent a yuga, where Badrikashram represents Satya Yuga. Why? Because what was the Yuga Dharma of Satya Yuga? Meditation. because people lived, the average age of people during Satya Yuga was 100,000 years. People meditated for hundreds and thousands of years. So we see Nara and Narayana Rishi over there meditating and doing austerity and penance, representing Satya Yuga at the time. So Bhadrikashram, it represents Satya Yuga, as Adi Shankaracharya says. And Adi Shankaracharya, as we know, is a part incarnation of Lord Shiva. Now then, Shankaracharya says that Rameshwaram in the south represents Treta Yuga, because it is the place of Lord Rama. Now, what is the Yuga Dharma of Treta Yuga? Sacrifices, yagnas. And we see a lot of yagnas, it's the place of Lord Rama. And even Lord Rama, he was born out of a yagna, because King Dasharath, despite having 3 queens, King Dasharath was unable to have any sons. And then he decided to have a very, very big yagna, a sacrifice. And then from the yagna, the fire god Agni came out and gave him something to eat, a sweet something to eat that he could give to his wives, who then ate that nectar or the sweet that was given to Dasharath. And then the wives conceived and then had the children. Dasharath had four sons. So even Lord Ram had come out of the yagna, and that was the age full of yagnas, and it is very much representative of the place of Lord Rama, where Lord Rama is worshipped, Rameshwaram. And then Shankaracharya says that Dwarika in the south, the Dham in the west, Dwarika, represents Dwapara Yuga. Now, Dwapara Yuga is where Krishna himself came as himself. And Dwapara Yuga, the Yuga Dharma of Dwapara Yuga is deity worship. And we see Krishna himself being worshipped. He was the live deity in Dwapara Yuga. And there were so many other deities being worshipped over here, but Krishna himself represented the live deity, who everybody worshipped during that time. And he lived in Dwarika. So Dwarika represents the Dwapara Yuga. And then Jagannath Puri, that represents Kali Yuga, because who is worshipped over here? Lord Jagannath. And who is Lord Jagannath? We see Lord Jagannath, his deity, a representation with his big eyes. It's in separation from Radharani. He's in Dwarika. And every time during every single Yatra Yatra, we see the rat or the cart being taken from Jagannath Puri to the Jagannath Puri temple to the Gundicha temple, which is said to represent Vrindavan. So the Lord in Jagannath Puri is in separation from Radharani, just as the Lord, who was the Yuga avatar of Kali Yuga, but none other than Mahaprabhu, who came in the mood of separation between Radharani and Krishna, representing or, telling us about the separation, the mood of separation between the Lord and his greatest devotees. So Jagannath Puri, whether it's the deity or Mahaprabhu, it represents, it's the Dham of Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, which tells us, which highlights the separation, the mood of separation between the Lord and the people, mankind who've forgotten the Lord, urging us to go back to Godhead, urging us to unite with the Lord again and go back to his Dham. So this is what Shankaracharya says about the Dhams. And many Hindus believe that, visiting these four dhams can actually give them liberation. Now, three of these four dhams is where Lord Narayan is worshipped in Dwarika, in Jagannath Puri, and in Badrinath. However, we see in Rameshwaram, that is where Lord Shiva is worshipped, because Lord Ram himself worshipped Lord Shiva over there. And that is where Lord Shiva is represented. But it also tells us the very, very close connection between Lord Narayan and Lord Shiva, and how that example of milk and yogurt given to us is so very true. Of not and why in our tradition, in Sanatan Dharma, in Gauriya Vaishnava tradition, we hold Lord Shiva at such a high place and call him to be and worship him as one of the greatest Vaishnavas. So, people go to Badrinath for and it's said that it is a place where people can get liberation. And many sages in Hinduism and even in Jainism, they go to Badrinath to perform tapasya, to penance or austerities, to get moksha or liberation. And that is the reason Badrinath is also called Yuga City, the place of Yuga City, or it's also called Mukti Pada. Mukti is liberation, and Pada, place. So Mukti Pada, a place where one can get liberation. Now, in a conversation between Vashishta Muni, the great sage Vashishta Muni, and his wife Arundhati, Vashishta Muni explains to Arundhati that if one visits Badrikashram and worships Lord Narayan over there, one will become free from all sinful reactions. So in this way, the place is also a place of liberation and is therefore referred to as Mukti Pada. And Prabhupada says that faithful devotees still visit the place for perfection of their spiritual realization, following in the steps of devotees like Uddhava. However, remembering that pilgrimage is not just bathing in the holy river, and just going and seeing the deity. That is not what pilgrimage is. If we have to visit a dham or a place, a holy place, it has to be realized that spirituality should remain at the heart. So there should be chanting, hearing, especially from devotees. So that is what going to a dham means. That is what going to Badrikashram means. On a different note, the word Badri of the Badrikashram, that refers to a type of, Badri means a type of berry tree. And it's said that right at the start of creation, Lord Narayan, he was meditating over there. And Mother Lakshmi, she took the form of a Badri tree, and she sheltered the Lord. She provided shelter to the Lord from the scorching sun. And the Lord was very happy after his meditation, and he said that, from now onwards, everyone should, people should always invoke Mother Lakshmi's name before his name. And so we see, people say Lakshmi Narayan, but never Narayan Lakshmi. So this is one of the reasons, this is one of the things that's also said about Badrikashram. But also in the Shastras, we see so many references of Badrikashram, where this is a place, it's, the place is surrounded, there are mountains around Badrinath. They are mentioned in the Mahabharata, where the Pandavas, they went towards Badrikashram, and then on their way, they actually fell off the cliffs. one after the other on their way to the heaven. And then it is also near a cave around that area where Vyasdeva actually wrote the Mahabharata. It is celebrated. It's a place that's celebrated all throughout, especially in the Padma Purana. It has been celebrated in many ways as being a place of very, very special, full of spiritual treasures, a place full of spiritual treasures. So we see that is where Krishna asks Uddhava to go. And so why does Krishna ask that? So Krishna knew that, after he departs from this material universe, it will be impossible for Uddhava to live. I mean, Vipralamba Bhava, as we heard yesterday. So what is Vipralamba Bhava? So Vipralamba Bhava, and I won't go much in details because it was talked about quite a bit yesterday. Vipralamba Bhava is love in separation. So it is the emotional distress and longing that is experienced by lovers when they are physically or they are emotionally separated from each other. The tremendous longing and emotional distress experienced by them. And it explores the, this bhava, it explores the emotions of acute longing and yearning by the lovers separated from each other, the suffering that's endured by them who are apart, either physically or emotionally. Jayadev Goswami, the 12th century poet, he wrote the Gita Govinda. And in Gita Govinda, he actually celebrated Vipralamba Bhava, the longing, the separation between Krishna and Radha, and their union in the end. So how the lovers, they separate and then their end, and also the fact that, one can never separate Krishna and Radha. So Krishna knew that it was impossible for Uddhava to actually be separated from him, and he would really suffer. So Krishna asked him to go to Badrikashram. Now, Uddhava had been serving Krishna, the deity Krishna, the living deity Krishna, the living form of Krishna in person. We see that, the way to connect to someone, even in separation, is by serving the deity, serving Krishna, serving that person, even if it's in the material world. If we are very much in love with someone, we remember that person consciously or unconsciously. I mean, just a few days ago, we had Nirjala, Pandava Nirjala Upavas, and I was discussing with a few devotees about the meaning of Upavas. Now, we automatically think that Upavas means fasting. Sanskrit is a very, very special language. Just as, it's impossible to just directly translate a Sanskrit word into English. Now, we translate avatar into incarnation, but there is so much to the word, so much more needs to be added to the word incarnation to make it exactly the same meaning as avatar. So the English translations are somewhat in want of more that needs to be added to make it a complete meaning as is reflected in the Sanskrit word. So similarly, when we talk about upavas, in English, we say that is fasting. We say that, but what is really upavas? The word upa means God. And vas means to reside, to be at home, to reside with God. So yes, during the whole day, one of the things is fasting, because by fasting, we are paying our obeisances to the Lord. We are doing the sacrifice for the Lord. But if that fasting is only to think, oh, how much, I'm suffering, I haven't eaten anything today, that does nothing to that upavas, because we are not thinking about the Lord. We are not residing with the Lord. And fasting is just one way of serving the Lord. Fasting is just one part of upavas. We need to reside with the Lord during any of these upavases, any of the Ekadashis. How can we do that? More chanting, more reading about the Lord. Yes, fasting is one of them. More serving the Lord. The more we serve the Lord, the more we remember the Lord, and the more we reside with the Lord. And that is what really upavas means. So when we do the Ekadashis, it's not just fasting. It's how can we reside more with the Lord. Fasting is just one part of upavas. So similarly, when Krishna asked Uddhava to go to Badrikashram, Krishna knew that, by being close to other devotees, would allow Uddhava to serve him better, to remember about him. Even the gopis of Vrindavan, they hated Krishna when Krishna kept them waiting for long, or even when Krishna left for Mathura, they used to curse Krishna. They used to say horrible things to Krishna. How can he have left us like this? How he treated us so badly? But they actually did that to derive pleasure, because they were not cursing Krishna, but that was just an excuse to remember Krishna, to say, even saying the name of Krishna was the sweetest things to them. So whether it was, remembering Krishna in anger, any excuse that gave them to remember Krishna was absolute nectar to them. So any service we do to the Lord, whichever way we serve them, Krishna knew that if Uddhava went to Badrikashram, and served Nara and Narayana rishis over there, and be with other devotees, Uddhava will remember Krishna at all time, because otherwise Uddhava had no reason to live in Dwarka, but he could be somewhere where his remembrance of Krishna could be maximum. Because we have to remember, as we read a few verses ago, Uddhava was not just any devotee. Uddhava is the person Krishna mentioned even about Dwarika and Vrindavan, his closest pastimes, something which he didn't even mention to Lord Brahma. Because, he talked about the gopis. Uddhava understood what separation is, because Uddhava understood that no one had suffered separation more than Radharani and Krishna. So the Lord knew what separation is. So Uddhava knew that the Lord was asking him to go to Badrikash, just as Krishna understood that Uddhava could go to Badrikashram and can somehow survive amidst other devotees or serving the Lord in his incarnations as Narayan. Similarly, Uddhava understood that the Lord also understood how much shattered he would be separating for him, because nobody understood separation better than the Lord himself. And, he started, even in his thoughts, as he was telling Vidura a few verses ago, as we have read, that he understood that, Radharani was actually the best kept secret of Lord Krishna. The best kept secret, because Krishna and Radharani separated, because had Jarasandha, had Kamsa knew that Krishna's heart and soul lay in Vrindavan, especially with Radharani, Jarasandha wouldn't have attacked Mathura 17 times. He would have directly attacked the simple people of Vrindavan. So to save the people of Vrindavan, to save his beloved Radharani, Krishna removed himself from Vrindavan and went to Mathura and then to Dwarika. And he, as we know, he actually kept Radharani. That was his, as Acharya says, he Radharani was the best kept secret of Krishna, and he protected Radharani and Vrindavan from Kamsa and the other demoniac characters. So both Vidura, Uddhava, and Krishna really understood why it was necessary for him to go to Badrikashram and the Lord. So Uddhava, being a great devotee, agreed to it. Although earlier he was telling Krishna that it's impossible for him to stay without him, he now understood that the kind of separation he would suffer, although he would suffer a lot. It would be nowhere in comparison to the separation that has been suffered by the Lord himself when he and his beloved Radharani separated. Now we see in the spiritual world, and I'm digressing a bit, in the spiritual world we see that Radharani and Krishna, they're married, and Jiva Goswami in his book Gopal Champu, he writes about that, in the spiritual world, Radharani and Krishna, they're always together, Radharani cooking for Krishna, etc. But in this material world, this life of separation has been told to us over and over and over again by the Lord in every incarnation for the single reason of making us understand that we are separated from the Lord. Whether he came as Radha and Krishna in Dwapar Yuga, and there was the separation, whether he came as Lord Ram and Mother Sita in Treta Yuga, and there was we have seen the separation of Lord Rama and Sita because of Ravana. And even at the end, Mother Sita, she went back to Mother Earth from where she came. So there was the separation of Lord Rama and Mother Sita. And then we see in Kali Yuga as well, we see Radharani, Lord Krishna coming as Radharani, in the mood of Radharani, in the mood of separation. And how much the Lord, he used to go, Mahaprabhu used to go into the Ashtasattvic bhavas, or what we talked about, those 8 different types of reactions that one would go in ecstasy, in the mood of ecstasy or in the mood of separation. But again, emphasizing that same thing about separation over and over and over again, reminding us that we, in this material world, we are separated from Krishna. We are part and parcel of Krishna, but due to our foolishness, due to us being completely under the grasp of Maya, we have forgotten Krishna, we have forgotten Krishna, we have forgotten Krishna, and our hearts and our souls should cry for Krishna in separation. So through the pastimes of various devotees, through his own pastimes, the Lord is teaching us over and over again to serve him, to remember him, try to remember him in some way. And if we can serve the Lord, we will remember him better. And in Kali Yuga, we understand that, it is chanting the Lord's name which will make us remember the Lord better, the most. That is the Yuga Dharma. That is what is going to give us Krishna. That is what is going to give us Radharani, if we are able to chant properly. And even in Badrikashram, it's said that if people go over there and perform true bhakti, not just go and see the Narayan Shila that's there now, but perform pure bhakti, they can get Narayan, Lord Narayan, if they are there. And so we come to the verse again, and we see the latter part of the verse. It says that the Lord asked Uddhava to go to Badrikashram, and mentioned the word mridu over there, and I said, let's come back to this word again. If we remember, I don't know if Prabhu, if you can bring up that word again, or it doesn't matter if not. Why does the Lord say, why is the word mridu mentioned over here? So, in Bhadrakashram, it says that Lord Nara and Narayana, they engage in austerities and penance for the welfare of humanity. And they are described with the word mridu. Now, mridu means friendly, someone who can never be unkind, a non-envious person, a pleasant person, and a merciful person. That is what the Lord is. He's very kind. He's very merciful. And so Krishna was asking Uddhava to go there. And Prabhupada says that, it is also for the welfare of the living entities over there. So the living entities who are mridu, so the living entities over there around that area who are devotees, and the devotees are all non-envious, the devotees are pleasant, they are kind entities. Now, this is how Prabhupada explains about the devotees who are very merciful and kind. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he mentions this, but he also adds to it that it can also mean that the word mridu, friendly and kind, can also mean the Lord himself, who is always so merciful and always so friendly to the living entities. Therefore, Nara and Narayan, the Lords, they engage in austerities not for themselves, but they're so merciful that these austerities and these penances, they are being performed for the welfare of mankind, not just them, but welfare of mankind. So we see that is also one of the reasons why Mridu is being mentioned. And why is the word unkind, merciful so very important in the entire Shastras when explaining about the Lord, when explaining about the true devotees of the Lord? Why is that so important? And it takes us to from many pastimes. It takes us to one of the pastimes of a rishi called Mona Rishi. Mona means someone who does not speak, someone who had taken a vow to not speak. That is Mona, and Rishi is a sage. So there was this sage who had taken a vow of not speaking at all because he did not want to speak any Gramya Katha. Gramya Katha, as Prabhupada said, so, talking village talk or talking about, materialistic things, any other talk other than the talk about Krishna or his devotees. So this rishi, this sage, he didn't want to talk about anything else other than Krishna. So he kept quiet, and he said that if he ever talks, that is only going to say the truth. That is only going to talk about the truth. And so one day, as he was meditating, he saw a man rushing past him, running past him. And then behind him came a few robbers. And the robbers came and they held a knife at the throat of this sage and said, "Did you see a man pass by? Which way did he go?" Now, so it's a big pastime, and there's only 10 minutes left, so I'll go quick. So this sage, he's, after much hesitation, after much, thinking, he didn't speak, but he indicated with his hand which way the man went. And he did that because he had taken the vow, if he speaks, if he says anything, it's only going to be the truth. So but he indicated that, and the robbers went after the man. And so for the rest of his life, this rishi, this sage, had blood on his hands because he knew that the robbers were going to kill that man. And so the Shastras, the Vedic injunctions say that daya or mercy or kindness is greater than truth. Many a times, truth can be, can slightly be diverted to show mercy. And we see the same, Krishna doing the same during the Kurukshetra war. We see how Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was actually made to say Ashwatthama, which was an elf who's an elephant. Yudhishthira Maharaj had to say that Ashwatthama iti gaja, that he went to Dronacharya and said, Ashwatthama, your son had died. And under his breath, he said, the elephant, Ashwatthama, the elephant. Now, he didn't want to do that, but he did that with the instructions of Krishna. Because Krishna told him, look, otherwise Dronacharya, he's such a great warrior, he's going to kill the soldiers. What is going to happen? The same thing he told Arjuna right at the start of Bhagavad Gita. What would happen, if you allow the Kauravas to rule? The Kauravas, they are adharma. They are, non-righteous. Everything they were doing was non-irreligious, non-righteous. They are being cruel to common people. So if you allow them to win, you're actually not doing your duty as a just and kind and merciful king, a ruler who's supposed to look after the subjects. You, by allowing the Kauravas to win. And I understand that Dronacharya is your guru, but if Dronacharya is in the Kaurava army, so he needs to be killed. So sometimes the truth for the greater good and for mercy, for kindness, sometimes the truth can be bent slightly. And that is what the Shastras teach us, as was also said to Krishna. However, this should only be very, very, very special circumstances where there is no harm caused to others deliberately, other than, dharma wanting to win over adharma. Where there is a fight of dharma and adharma, anything to support dharma should be supported and should be done. And that is what we are being told. And another version that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives in his commentary to the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, it says that Krishna also wanted Uddhava to go to Badrikashram was because Krishna was also thinking that, look, in my incarnation in Dwapara Yuga now, I've actually visited all parts of the universe. I've been to the heavenly planets, to get the Parijata tree for his wife. I went to his wife Satyabhama. I went to the heavenly planets, got the Parijata tree from Indra's garden. I even went to the lower planets, to Sutala Loka to support, to be the doorkeeper of Lord Bali. I went to the hellish planets. I went to meet Yamaraj's place because I have, he and Balaram, Krishna and Balaram, they went to get the son of Sandipani Muni, their guru Sandipani Muni, whose son was swallowed by a demon who resided in the hellish planets. And so Krishna and Balaram went over there, fought with the demon, and then, brought back the son of Sandipani Muni to the guru. And then he was in the earthly planet, and he had gone to various places. He had gone to the south, to the far off places in the earthly planets. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that, Krishna was thinking that I've been to lots of places, but I have not been able to go to Badrikashram, where Nara and Narayana, they have been there doing penances for such a long time. And so Krishna says that, I am the Bhagavan, but Uddhava, he is a pure devotee. very much similar to me. He even looked like Krishna. Many people actually mistook Uddhava to be Krishna because he looked so similar to Krishna. And Krishna thought Uddhava is the right person because it's the time for him to finish his pastimes on this earthly planet. Who is the next best person to go to Badrikashram, which is one of the only, the only place where Krishna was not able to go. Whereas he had been to so many other places, so Krishna chose Uddhava to go there and be there, be amongst devotees, and not just be amongst devotees. Krishna had the higher purpose. He was giving all the knowledge to Uddhava. In Uddhav Gita, he had given the absolute truth to Uddhava. And Uddhava, he asked Uddhava to spread this amongst the others over there as well. Because over and over and over again, right until Mahaprabhu in, we see in Chaitanya Charitamrita in Madhya Lila 7.128, it said, Mahaprabhu said, Jare dakho tare kaho Krishna Upadesh, Amar Aggai Guru Hoya tar Eidesh. Or instruct everyone about the information given by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita about what you learn in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Instruct everyone, teach everyone about Krishna, about Radharani, and in this way become a spiritual master and try to liberate the people in whichever land you are in. And so this was one of the other things that Krishna also wanted Uddhava to do, as he instructed him to go to Badrikashram. And so, as we conclude our discussion today, we see that what is our takeaway from this verse? Yes, we are reminded about the separation, the mood of separation, the fact that, we are separated from Krishna and we have to remember Krishna. We are also taught to remember why, it's so these dhams are so very important, these holy places, and it's nice to be able to visit these places. But if Krishna and Radharani, if they are in our heart and soul, we can make our own home a dham and make Krishna and Radharani live in our own home. We can make Krishna and Radharani live in our own heart. There's the Paramatma in everybody's heart, but that Paramatma can be replaced. Krishna himself comes as Bhagavan with Radharani, and he stays there in our heart, just like Lord Ram and Mother Sita is in the heart of Hanuman, as he showed when he showed his heart to all in the assembly of Lord Ram and Mother Sita. Similarly, Radharani and Krishna can reside in us if we remember them at all times. And last but not the least, like the instructions given to Uddhava, that is what we have to do. Jare dakho tare kaho Krishna Upadesh. Whoever you see, not people who are atheists, because that is one of the offenses. If we try to say too much about Krishna to atheists, it actually becomes worse. But where we see like-minded people, where we see people who can be talked to about Krishna, give them, talk to them about Krishna. Even, why do we do Sankirtan loudly? Because people who may not have had the opportunity to hear about Krishna, they can hear the transcendental sounds of Hare Krishna, and perhaps come into Krishna consciousness, because all we need to do is serve the Lord. And how do we serve the Lord? We remember the Lord. And what is remembering the Lord? It is nothing but loving the Lord and serving the Lord in loving, with a loving mood, because that really is what our original constitution position is, to love the Lord, because we are part and parcel of the Lord. And just as he loves us, all we have to do to serve him the best is love him back. And that is what the Lord is saying to Uddhava. Go there, go to Badrikashram. That is where you will remember me the most and serve me the most. So with that, I come to the conclusion of our discussion. Apologies if I've made any mistakes. Please do correct me if I have, or if there are any reflections, any additions, any questions. please correct me, or it's open for discussion. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for that beautiful, beautiful discourse on really that Badarika Ashrama. And as you were talking about it, I happened to Google it, and I saw around 2.8 million people visit that ashrama.
Yeah, that's
I mean, in 2022. And got in my mind that maybe this should be one of the places that even devotees should one day try and see.
Yeah.
And I've seen that even lately there are some roads can even go by car, if you're not very healthy. Yeah. And
yes. Yeah, I'm sure you'll be able to go there. Where there's a will, there's a way, Prabhuji.
Yes. Anyway, thank you so much. I mean, for that beautiful class and even the ending. Essentially, we really have to connect so we can serve the Lordships, including in our hearts. I'd like to open up to anyone with a reflection, question. I also see Professor Kritika Mataji is with us. Maybe she can also say something. Hare Krishna. But maybe she's a little bit held up. Yeah.
Any reflections?
And Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, and please don't apologize because yesterday's Prabhuji's perceptions were different. Yours are different. It's always nice to hear from you, Mataji. We want you to. We always looking forward for your classes for sure. Yes, and today, a lot of many things I have learned from today's class, Mataji. I didn't know that the four dhams represents the four yugas, which was very new for me, and I learned about that, and it was really nice, and your explanations are very beautiful. Thank you, Mataji, and a lot of realizations. If I keep continuing, it will be too late. So I will just say thank you so much. Beautiful class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for your kind words, and thank you for the opportunity to do service. Hare Krishna.
And Bhaktamugo Prabhu, sorry, I thought maybe you got confused yesterday. That's why I was writing, 22 was already done. But later I understood that, yes, Prabhuji, sorry. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Plus it's the Srimad Bhagavatam. We can even take an entire year or month in one verse because it's the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yes, Hare Krishna. I'd like to request Doreen Mataji, are you able to kindly end the session for us? Or Eastern Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, please note that my ambulance all glory to Prabhupada. Thank you so much for the class. We have had so many realizations. For me, that part where whenever Krishna comes in every form, like Ram and Sita, Krishna and Radha, he shows how much you are separated from him. That really hit deep for me. Thank you so much for those for the class. It's always beautiful. We really appreciate your time and your dedication. So as we end the class, thank you all devotees who have joined us. Let's chant one Maha Mantra as we end the class. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Prantharat Srimad Bhagavatam ki,
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Grace
Grace
Panchali Kar
Panchali Kar
Mataji
Mataji
SB. Jai.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhujis and Matajis. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.